In our last episode, we had an absolute blast targeting bonito and sharks off from Atlantic Beach here in eastern North Carolina. Awesome time. These fish are incredible tasting fish. In this episode, I'm going to teach you how to fillet these things, prepare them in multiple different ways, sure to impress friends and family, and you're going to want to do this over and over again. Bonito are awesome. Stay tuned.
Woo! Hello, this is David with Dave Fish 84. Welcome to another episode.
Now, the good news with this kind of fish is they're actually really easy to fillet. All you need is a good sharp knife. I use Dexter blades. That's a reason why commercial fishermen use these. And I always sharpen my knives before every time I clean a fish or whatever I'm going to use. These Dexter blades have really soft blades, so they dull up quick, but they sharpen really, really good. That's why sharpen before and after every time you fillet a fish. Now, I'm just going to score the back just above the dorsal fin. There's a bone line that goes from the spinal cord up to where those dorsal fins are. If you pull a dorsal fin up on the fish, just imagine the bone layers that you see in that fin going all the way to the spinal cord. That's kind of what you're doing, just kind of making your cuts right along those bones and just separating that meat from the bones until you get to the rib cage. And then you're going to find there's two different cuts of meat on these fish. It's the upper loin and the bottom loin. You can see where my thumb is there. That's the upper loin. And then you're going to hit some ribs and it's going to separate into the next loin. You're going to see as I'm going to cut these two different sections apart. It's a little different than most fish, but it is really easy to do. See, I'm up against that rib bone now, and I'm just starting to separate that first loin from the ribs. So I'll start going back up towards the skin as I'm going along. You can see those rib bones right there just beneath my blade. Actually really easy to find and run your blade across these bones. They're not small. Just being really careful to not waste any meat. And all that really red meat you see there, that's the bloodline stuff. We're going to be cutting all that off anyway. That's where the really nasty flavor comes from, is that super dark red meat. We don't want any of that on our fish. So I set that aside, and now you're going to see I'm going to go for that other cut, that belly cut right there. So same thing, we're just going to come along the other side of that rib bone. It's surprisingly easy. I mean, really easy to find that rib line, really easy to run the knife along those bones, get that meat off. And just beautiful, beautiful pieces. This meat was super soft. It's actually really surprised how soft the meat was on this particular fish. So now I'm just trimming off any of the skin that I missed, and any of those red parts you want to get off. That's where the super strong fishy flavor or gross flavor is going to come from. So just taking your knife and just taking the time to trim off any of that red meat that you see, that bloodline. Just little by little, just make sure you get all that off and you're left with that nice white meat. All right, we're gonna get this started. First thing I'm gonna do is start preparing sushi rolls. I love doing sashimi, so I'm gonna do a little bit of sashimi, but I'll make these really awesome sushi rolls. I'm gonna show you step by step how to do it. We're gonna have another piece that we are gonna saute or kind of like sear up in a cast iron pan. But first, let's get these sushi rolls going. This stuff's one of my favorite things in the world to eat. This is important. I got my, you can use any knife. This is just a normal kitchen knife from like Walmart. This one here is from Kyoto, Japan, with my name engraved on it. Got this one picked up from a friend of mine. I lived in China for a long time. Never made it to Japan. That's on the list someday. But this is a legit sushi knife, handcrafted by a family that's been making not just sushi knives, but blades as far back as making samurai swords over 400 years ago. Generation by generation, this family. So this knife here is very sentimental to me. I love it. Insanely sharp. Insanely sharp. So I'm going to use this for the fine cutting with our tuna. So what I've done is I put it on this plate with a crumpled up piece of paper towel, tin foil and paper towel, just to kind of help dry it off a bit. So what I'm going to do here is I want to cut one good thick piece for the steak. This is going to be the one that I saute up. I'm going to put that back over here. The rest of this, see, I want to make, that's going to make a good piece of sashimi right there. Actually, sushi. I'm going to cut that in half like this. Yep. You want pieces that are nice and thick. They're going to lay in our sushi rolls. Just about the right length. Just about 2.5 inches. I'll take a couple nice thick, thin but thick pieces of this. Or just straight up sashimi. Fish is breaking up very easily. I'm gonna use that for sushi when it does that. Got a nice piece of avocado here. We've got cucumber, avocado, and jalapeno pepper, and a little bit of cream cheese. Is what we're gonna be using for this, with some sriracha as well for our spicy tuna roll. So really just need to cut a few pieces of this to fit into these rolls. So it's just a prep work. It's really easy. I know these things can look intimidating, but they're really not that bad to make. They're really not. So I'm just going to take a couple pieces of avocado, cut into long strips like that, set them aside on my plate, my prepping plate. So when we start building the sushi roll, we'll have everything we need on hand to work with. Alright, so our jalapeno pepper. Just want the seeds out of this. It's going to give a little, just like the cucumber, this is going to give some crunch, some flavor. But with this one, we're going to get a little bit of heat as well. The seeds have a lot of heat. But we're going to use wasabi. I'm going to have a little sriracha into this as well. But we're just going to cut these also, just like everything. Similar size and thickness. All right, it's time to start building our sushi roll. So first step is I have my sushi bamboo roller thingy. You can pick this up on Amazon, or I think I actually bought this at Harris Teeter. It's a nice grocery store here in Eastern North Carolina. I mean, you can pick this up at Amazon. Probably at Walmart has these as well. And then I'm laying down some seaweed rolls. You don't have to use these. You can just do straight rice, but I really like using the seaweed rolls. I like the taste of it. It helps keep everything together, but yeah, it's healthy, and I really like the taste of the seaweed stuff. So we're going to lay down some seaweed. You can make your own sushi rice. Find another YouTube channel for that. I've done it before. It's a bit tedious. I don't do this all the time, and I can get it for free at my local grocery store. I just asked them for a little sushi rice. They put a little paid sticker on there. Pretty awesome, right? So I take some of the sushi rice. There's a couple steps that are really important with this if you want to save yourself hassle. Get yourself some saran wrap. Get your faucet running with a little bit of water ahead of time. Start laying down your sushi rice on top of your seaweed, like I'm doing here. Alright, about the same proportions. Every side there. Bam. Now I have that water going, so you got all this rice stuck to my finger. You got two options. Eat it and rinse it off. Both are good. But if you eat it off, you still gotta rinse your fingers. So you do that, and then if you tried to mash that rice down as is, it would just be a mess. So the beautiful thing is with saran wrap, lay a layer over top of it like this, and now you can work with it without it sticking to you and everything like crazy. You want it to stick to that seaweed, and you want to just make a nice flat smooth bed of the sushi rice that we're going to basically build everything off from. Try to work that to the edges the best I can. You just kind of want it to, you're going to want, let's see, carefully do this. You're going to want some of that seaweed to be cleared. So if there's spots where it's lacking some, you just take some from that spot. Put it over here. Stuff acts like glue. It's very, very, very efficient, actually. I mean, they're hearing from old friends in China that back in the day, when they would mail letters, they would use a piece of rice to glue the letter together. And it really does work. Alright, so we just make that nice and flat like that, and then we're going to start building this thing in layers. I've been doing this a while. I really enjoy this. It's not as hard as it looks at all. It really, really isn't. Alright, so now we're going to start building this. Let me bring this camera right down close to the action. Alright, so we're going to start taking all these pre-cut pieces of vegetables and fish. First thing I'm going to do is just start laying nice, healthy, thick pieces of fish across this. And, you know, sometimes it depends on if you really like sashimi and fish, or if you're like, if this is the first time you're a little freaked out about it, you can make tiny, thin pieces. You don't have to put a whole lot. For me, I want to taste the fish. I want to know that I'm eating sushi. So I want to make this nice and thick, so there's a big chunk in this roll. Or when I take a bite, every time I know that I'm actually eating raw fish. I'm eating this tuna. So I'm making this really solid, thick piece of tuna. That's a seriously thick piece. Okay? Then I'm just going to take, I want some crunch. I'm going to put a little of the jalapeno and some of the cucumber for freshness and flavor. I'm going to take some of the avocado. Also going to add some really great flavor to this. A knife, and all we need to do, like everything else, is just put a layer of cream cheese. All this is going to be tightened down and compacted into one really nice, clean piece here. We're going to show you here that next. All right, so once we have that like this, we're going to put sriracha. You have two different kinds. I mean, there's all different kinds of sriracha you can find. This one here is my favorite. I want some heat on this, so I got my jalapenos, and now I'm putting down a layer of sriracha. And of course, I'm going to use wasabi on every piece. But
I like some spice in mine, some heat. So what we're gonna do now, it's hard because I you know, if this is your first time doing this, I would suggest making everything like in half of what I'm doing. This is a heavy one. I've got a lot of material inside of this sushi roll. Not the easiest thing to work with, but it's gonna be packed full of awesome flavor. The less stuff you put in here, the easier it is to mold. This one is not gonna be an easy one to roll up at all. It might not look pretty in the end, we'll see, but it's certainly gonna taste amazing. So I will kind of roll that over like that, and then I'm going to bring this one up over. And now I'm just going to squeeze that all together and just get that all compacted tight. So everything gets to know each other, and now we got this beautiful roll. And it's always going to spill some of these weird guts out the side. That's totally fine. You know, you might, if you're working at a restaurant, you might not like that part. But for me, I think it looks really cool. So what I'm gonna do is take my sushi knife back out and cut this thing up into sections. So this is what I'm talking about. Like, if you're at a restaurant, this might not be the most appealing, or it might be really cool. I think it adds a really cool element personally, because you can display it like this. Check this out. So this one here gets kind of put up like that. And then our next one will be a lot more clean. Now, the bad part on mine is that usually there's a layer about an inch, 3/4 of an inch on each side with no rice, where the seaweed's gonna bond to each other. This one, I made it so tight there wasn't really much room. It's still holding together, but just not that great. But I'm really happy with those. Are huge pieces. There's a lot of rice in that. If anything, I could have fit more fish in this. Half of these I'm going to leave like this. This half, we're going to go next level and deep fry that bad boy. I'm going to show you how to do that right now. First, we're going to take this end off as well. That's also part of our display. Check that out. I mean, I don't know about you, but I just think, wow, that's pretty cool looking. It tastes amazing, and it looks pretty impressive in my opinion. All right, so for this part, you're gonna take this piece right here. I'm gonna put it in egg wash. It's just an egg that, one egg that I beat in this bowl. Make sure everything's covered in that egg wash. I'm going to bring it over here and put it in panko bread crumbs. And I've got my deep fryer outside set to 375 degrees. We're going to bring this bad boy out there and just deep fry this. All right, it's evening here. The lighting's not the best, but I'm telling you, pay attention to this because this is super awesome. You go to a really nice Japanese restaurant, you can get this, but I'm telling you, you watch it, you can do it at home. It's unbelievably good. Check this out. So I got this little deep fryer from Walmart. Cost like 20 bucks. I've been using this for a long time on frying fish. It works great. I just leave it on my back porch so it doesn't stick my whole house up when I deep fry things. So here we've got this roll right here. We're going to put that in there very carefully. Check that out. And this is not going to take long. We're not trying to cook this thing. We're just trying to crisp the outside of this. If you want it the outside to be crispy and golden brown, it's going to take all of like a minute and a half. Tops, 400 degrees. All right, I just flipped it over. You can see it's kind of golden brown like that. All I want to do is just get this the outer layer to have a crispiness and a crunch to it, and keep the inside uncooked and cold. So we want to do this really quick, minute and a half tops.
check this out. Yeah. Nice and crispy. I'm going to take our very sharp knife. Carefully make some nice. Look at that right there. This is going to be killer. Absolutely killer. Wow. If I wasn't hungry before, and I was, now I'm really, really hungry. Oh my gosh, that crisp. Like, waiting to actually bite into this is the most painful part. Alright, so what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of salt, some Himalayan crushed sea salt, some black pepper. On one side, okay, I want a little heat on this. So I'm going to do that on one side. Put our salt and pepper on their side. Touch of teriyaki on there for a minute to marinate. Just like that. All right, I'm gonna take this piece of tuna and make sure I've got all the oil right in the middle. We're just searing it real hot. We're not trying. All right, well, as always in any of the videos I do, okay, so the videos are messing up because of the batteries. I love GoPros, but when you're trying to do really good audio, you don't want all that sound stuff. I've added these media mics to it, but at 50% battery, the cameras stop responding the way they should to the commands, and they freeze up. So we're at 55%, and the whole video just froze up. So it was in the middle of cooking this tuna, so I'm back at it. I don't know if you saw it, but I seared the first side. Now I'm searing the other side. You're not trying to cook this. You just want to sear it really good on each side. Like, it's what you want is this amazing blend of cooked tuna with totally raw tuna. So we want it to be cooked a little bit just on the edges with that nice sear, but you want the inside to be totally raw. The results, I promise you, are epic. So having this in the mix with our totally raw sushi rolls and our sashimi, this is going to be unbelievable. All right, check this out. So we just seared this, and I'm going to take that sushi knife and just make these nice cuts. Now, this fish was really mushy. I kept wondering what is going on with this. You know, the reality is we didn't have the best plan put in place. We didn't have the ice on the boat that we needed. It was a big mistake. We had to run in, lose a bunch of time with our fishing day to go in and find ice. That fish wasn't on ice immediately the way it should have. It wasn't ruined, but I believe that is why the fish got mushy. Chances are, if you catch one of these bonita, you get on ice right away, it's going to be a lot firmer than what you're seeing here. I mean, this is terrible looking. Looks like I'm going to put this on a tuna fish sandwich, but I tell you what, it still tastes amazing. All right, well, I'm going to be honest, this has been the hardest dish I've ever made not to just dig in during this video. Like, I love sushi, and this is one of the prettiest plates that I've ever made. So many things going on here. Everything from sashimi to just the regular standard sushi roll to fried sushi roll to like sauteed, grilled, raw in the middle, bonito tuna, all the vegetables, kimchi, wasabi, soy sauce. I'm ready to dig in on this one, I'm telling you. And then, all right, I don't even know where to start here. I'm just gonna go right for the raw. So you can see, like, this is straight up, nothing on it, just wasabi and soy sauce on totally raw bonito.
come on. There's a reason why people take this fish so seriously. I've eaten at a lot of Japanese restaurants, had a lot of sushi. This is insane. It's so good. I'm going to go for the one that I seared on both sides. I want to taste the difference between the totally raw and the seared one. Soy sauce and wasabi is all there is on this. Wow. You can tell a uniquely different flavor from both. Both incredible. Just absolutely delicious, both of them. I would actually prefer the totally raw myself, but they're both really, really, really good. Some people would prefer the cook, but yeah, the raw for me, way better. We got our normal. I'm gonna gotta go for this fried one first. I'm gonna go ahead and put some wasabi on this bad boy, and get a little bit of soy sauce on this, and I'm going for it. Big bite. I just want to taste the whole thing. Unbelievable. Seriously unbelievable. This is a game changer. You can do the same thing with fresh Spanish mackerel. Sheephead is, I mean, I've done this before. Sheephead's great with this. I'm going to try again with false albacore. You can't use as much of the meat with those as you can with these Bonito, but they'll work. Any tuna is going to work. But I mean, there's stuff that you can do. Sheephead I can do year round for sashimi and sushi, but this Bonito is just, the flavor is so good. It's so good, especially for the sashimi. Like, you can just taste that really good fresh tuna flavor with every bite of this. Wow. It's seriously unbelievable. Here's just a regular one. This one's gonna fall apart on me, but wow. It looks amazing. If you've never tried sushi, it's something that's freaked you out. Take my word for it. It's unbelievable. It really, really is. I mean, I was a person that lived in China for over 8 years. When I first went there, there was all kinds of crazy things that I got exposed to. I'm a pretty adventurous person. I did try a lot of things, but I was slow going with some things. Some things I just wouldn't try, like duck head or duck feet or chicken feet or bugs. And I mean, there's just so many weird things like innards. As I got educated more on why people in China eat things like that and how hard life was for them, I started to, you know, okay, out of respect and love for people, I'm going to eat these things to not disrespect them. And I found that a lot of these things were actually incredibly tasty. It was just a matter of like mind over matter type of thing. Like, we're so stuck in a box of culinary things here of what we think are good and what's not good. There's a whole world out there that's discovered so many different things that are so good. Fish is one of those things. Raw fish. Think you eat clams, you eat shrimp. They're like alien-like creatures. These are weird-looking things, but they taste good. Raw fish is the same. Make sure it's fresh so you don't get yourself sick or something, but when it's fresh, oh my gosh, this stuff is, it's unbelievable. And there's so many good foods out there I want to expose you to, so many good recipes that I learned overseas in China. But this is still one of my favorites. Japanese style sushi is one of my all-time favorite ways to eat fish. But when it comes to like sweet and sour fish, steamed fish, sauteed fish, there's a ton of soups and things in China that were really, really good that I will be bringing to this channel in the future. But anyways, as always, I hope you enjoy this. I appreciate your support. If you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing, giving me a thumbs up, and helping this channel grow. Until next time, God bless, and I will see you on the next one.
Well, this is gonna be a long battle, I'm sure.
On the bag fell off.
What in the world? There's something right here, Mike. What in the world is that?
That's the trash bag.
Oh my God! I thought. I was like, what in the world is a sea monster right there?
That's what I said, the trash bag.
Our chum bag
Chum
has
bag.
jumped over the side.
This would not be a cheap deal right here. We've got regular sushi rolls, fried sushi rolls, sashimi, grilled. Yikes, come on, Ken. I'm in the middle of a video. I got my friend from Hong Kong calling. I said I lived in China, right? Normal life and the life of Dave Keo. Ken, other videos, I've got like a 46-inch bull drum. Ken's on the call. You're famous, Ken. Blooper. Blooper. GoPro, stop recording.